the Ministry of Finance has announced that approximately 85% of bondholders participated in the domestic debt exchange program. This amounted to 83 billion cedis. It added that the result is a significant achievement for the government to implement fully the economic strategies in the post-COVID-19 program for economic growth during the current economic crisis. To provide sufficient time to settle the new bonds in an efficient manner, the statement explained that government is extending the settlement date of the exchange program from the previously announced 14th February 2023 to the 21st of February 2023. Senior finance lecturer at the University of Cape Coast, Sarah Kawo, has questioned government's unwillingness to exempt individual pensioner bondholders. According to him, the individual pensioner bondholders have insisted that the current form of the domestic debt exchange program creates an avenue for government to dishonor the bond in the future for pensioner bondholders who choose to self-exempt. Mr. Kawa believes inconsistencies in the program will create some amount of fear among senior citizens.
I think that is a good news for us. Once it is voluntary and it will not affect these bondholders, they have no fears, except that they know something that we don't know, and except that they are so much aware that government will not fulfill their promise when it is due. In that way, they can take government to court. This is usually coming because of lack of trust from the finance ministry, especially the finance minister, when they have not been consistent with the issues. If we are able to exempt the pension fund holders from the domestic debt exchange, and we are explicit to say that they are exempted, and we did not state that it is voluntary for them, then why is it so difficult to tell the individual bondholders and then the pensioner bondholders that they are also exempted from it? These inconsistencies create some amount of fear in the senior citizens, as we call them, to be so much scared about their future. But then once we have their word that they are going to honor it, and these statements are out there for the entire world to read, we just need to hold the finance ministry to their words. Government must also note that these issues, if it is not handled carefully, tomorrow when they are going to issue bonds and they want people to partake in the bonds, it's going to affect the future bond rollout that we're going to have, because people are going to be very much skeptical and they are going to be very much scared that government might default in the payment of the bonds that we have, and there will be some kind of restructuring that will take place. There are situations where there will be haircuts because the reduction in the interest rate, the extension of the payment period, they all amount to some amount of haircut, and that would affect them. And so in the future, it will affect all these things that we are talking about. And for that matter, government to win these people back, talk to them, tell them that they are exempted from it, and pay them their coupon, and we move forward as a country.
Still on the debt exchange program, the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry is expressing worry about developments in the economy, saying the ongoing debt restructuring has affected businesses and investor confidence. It is therefore urging the government to implement responsive and coherent policy adjustment to address economic challenges, since any further delays will not go well for the economy. Speaking at an inauguration of the Council of the Chamber today, its President Clement Osei-Amoako said the economic crisis is affecting repayment of loans by businesses, among others.
The Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry is unhappy of the instability in the economy, saying it has increased the cost of doing business. Clement Osei-Amoako is the president of the chamber.
The persistent increase in the policy rate by the central bank has also resulted to a high lending rate averaging 40% and also affecting loan payments as banks have upward review their contractual loan pricing. The recent upward adjustment in utility tariffs, that is 29%, 29.96% for electricity and 8.3% for water, is expected to have dire consequences on already struggling business by making them vulnerable, erode their competitiveness, and lead to massive layoff and potential shutdowns.
His Lordship, Justice Stephen Opong, Justice for the Court of Appeal, sworn in 39 council members.
Having been nominated.
From the Debt Exchange Program, Tullow Oil PLC has announced that Tullow Ghana Limited has filed a request for arbitration with the International Chamber of Commerce in London in respect of two disputed tax assessments received from the Ghana Revenue Authority. In a notice to investors, the oil giant said the assessments relate to the disallowance of loan interest deductions for the fiscal year 2010 and 2020 and proceeds received by Tullow Oil PLC under Tullow's corporate business interruption insurance policy. The requests for the arbitration have been filed in accordance with the dispute resolution process set out in the petroleum agreement which govern Tullow Ghana Limited's activities in Ghana. Meanwhile, energy strategist Yusuf Sulemana said both parties should dialogue and settle the issues out of court.
It has both positive, connotations and potential negative connotations. I'll start with the positive. The positive is that, or the positive thing about the whole thing is that investors could see this as a way that, if there is a dispute and there's an avenue to be able to resolve the dispute, I think that's the way to go. And I think that is very commendable to the extent that they have found an avenue in the petroleum, management, document that we have that manages our petroleum activities at the upstream. That is commendable. And so in that case, an investor coming in would say that, okay, if I'm in Ghana and I have dispute, I have an opportunity to be able to resolve it amicably. Then the second aspect is also the negative aspect is the fact that some investors could look at it this way. Is it that GRA is just unnecessarily getting on Tullow just to extort them or just to disturb them? And of course, upstream players will not like tax dispute. Any upstream player will not like tax dispute, because they don't want anything to vitiate their focus in their core business, which is exploration and production. So to that extent, I think we have to tread cautiously, and I'm happy that this is going the way it is going. But I would have wished that this was resolved without going through these processes. Albeit the process is still a legitimate means, which I said is good for some investors' perspective. Now, the key thing is, as a player, how does it impact the industry in the way, in general, especially in Ghana of a sort? As much as GRA has every right to go after every CD, that is going to them, we also have to be mindful of the fact that, we need to treat these IOCs with respect. That doesn't mean that whatever belongs to Ghana, we should not go for it. It's not that I'm wronging GRA for going there. I'm just saying that we have to strike the balance, to make sure that they are given the avenue to explain to them the reason behind this allowance.
Now, government is set to introduce new taxes and increase existing rates on alcoholic beverages, fruit juices, mineral water, cigarettes, among other items. That's if Parliament finally approves the Finance Committee's report on placing levies on these products. Here's more in this report.
The Finance Committee in its report to the House stated that the objective of this bill is to first amend the current Excise Duty Act 2014 and make it more relevant to current development. This will expand its coverage and increase taxes on some items said to be harmful to consumers. The document showed that if the Finance Committee's report is approved by Parliament, there will be a new set of taxes that will be placed on electronic cigarettes, It claims that the move has been necessitated by the increasing use of these products and its mandate to discourage its use because of health concerns. Sweetened beverages and processed fruit juice currently do not attract excise duty. However, if this report is approved, there will be fresh levies placed on these products. Government is also trying to increase the excise duty on mineral water and more drinks. Spirits and wines will also attract new taxes, as the Finance Ministry claims it wants to even the levies on alcohol content in spirits and beer sold on the market. The country is seeking to raise more than 400 million Ghana cedis every year from 2023. But some are worried how these taxes will increase the cost of these products on the market and come with some shocks for producers of these items.
Now, reacting to this development, the General Secretary of the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, Samuel Agui, has described the move by government as unfortunate, as he says government's decision to increase taxes in the already reeling economy will collapse industries.
In fact, I would say this is the most unfortunate news that I should ever hear from this government.
Why?
Because every day we hear increase of taxes. We've reached a point where industry and consumers cannot even afford anymore. And you keep on introducing new taxes. Now, the excuse that the ministry is giving that certain products are harmful for consumption. Cigarettes, yes. E-cigarettes, yes. These are the areas you should be looking at. And then perhaps a certain class of alcoholic beverages that we can increase, at least raise some little revenue from there. Because when you do that increase, we say people of astute income will still go for it. Yes, that would be right. But then to give an excuse that drinking malt is harmful and then beverages are harmful to our human consumption, and therefore you need to raise more taxes to revenue so that you can have enough money for government consumption. This is most unfortunate, because if you look at what we are looking at, government is only interested in making the money, and by looking at the numbers of these products as they are produced, and then what is being imported into the country. As I'm telling you now, they have proposed a 20% increment of all these taxes. Already we have 18%, which is even more expensive for industry to contend with. Now, if you go back and you say you are going to impose further 20%, how do you expect these companies to survive? Government has not engaged industry players. And therefore, if we are to even engage, there is no way we are going to accept that there should be an increment at this time of the year where all the taxes have come to the brink of its maximum.
Now, under a three-phase pilot, a total of 114 agriculture entrepreneurs have undergone a 4-week of intensive and practical training targeted at the youth in the Ashanti and Western regions of Ghana. The training was targeted at strengthening the business of agriculture. Here's more in this report.
In supporting skills development, the SNV Ghana, through its Green Project, partnered with the Kwadaso Agricultural College and the Ghana Education Service to train and award a National General Agricultural Certificate to entrepreneurs in the agricultural value chain. Dr. Ishak Shaibu is the Vice Principal of the Kwadaso Agric College. He cites the significance of such initiatives.
The intention of this particular training is to offer the
SNV Ghana, through its Green Project, partnered with the Kwadaso Agricultural College and the Ghana Education Service to train and award a National General Agricultural Certificate to entrepreneurs in the agricultural value chain. Dr. Ishak Shaibu is the Vice Principal of the Kwadaso Agric College. He cites the significance of such initiatives.
The intention of this particular training is to offer the service recipients from SNV through the opportunities for youth employment, to be able to grant these service recipients the needed skills and training in entrepreneurship. The objective is that we want these trainees to be able to become agripreneurs, be able to establish their own agribusinesses, employ themselves, and be able to employ others as well.
The Skills Development Advisor of SNV Ghana, Dorcas Hammond, says the program is to nurture the skills of participants in agricultural development.
We collaborated with Kwadaso Agric College to conduct General Agri Certification Program, which today we are graduating the service recipients. The program covers actually different aspects of agriculture. So when it comes to crop, agro-processing, climate smart agric, poultry, and then we also included financial literacy so that the service recipients would see agric also as a business. For Green Project, our main focus is to create 3,500 self-employment opportunities.
We have 3 phases. Okay, we have 1 phase, 2 phases as on-the-job training at the various districts, where we send the trainers there to train them there. So as we have a Juso, we have a Jura, then we have the in-house one, where we brought them from both Western and then Ashanti region.
Participants who benefited from the program said it will help contribute to the growth of their farm works. They cited their appreciation as well.
And the SNV, they teach us all with much about using, the natural things that we can use to improve our farming system. So I think I have learned a lot, and I think I also use that one to encourage a lot of farmers for us to go away of the chemicals and then go into organic manure and then organic farming.
Okay. So with the training I had and centered on SNV thematic area energy, I've been able to have a startup that's providing an alternate for cutting trees for charcoal.
For Joy News, Nana Boachi Dankwa.
Now, we are in the season of love where people use different means of expressing affection towards their partners. Some people love chocolates, others prefer teddy bears and flowers. But there are those who go the extra mile to get their loved ones money bouquet. So how lucrative is this business? Here's a report. That's how we end the bulletin tonight. For more news, you can log on to myjoyonline.com/business. I am Beverly Broohm. Have a good evening.